Hello, this is Dr. Dennis Kimbro, and welcome to my global classroom. Well, today's millionaires look different from those of past decades. You know, with the rise of social media, podcasts, and influencers, the younger generation is turning their knowledge into real money and becoming millionaires at a much earlier age. Instead of representing the classic look of old money or reaching financial success later in life, the millionaires of 2024 are younger, far more likely to be self-made, and as you guessed it, today. Since financial literacy has become easily accessible, millennials are investing aggressively, living frugally, and using technology to stay on top of their financial game. And as a result, everyone has noticed, particularly the Federal Reserve. You see, for the first time in our nation's history, the average net worth of American families has exceeded $1 million, which is a 42% jump from nearly $750,000 in 2019, almost 5 years ago. To gain a clearer picture, 12% of American families, or roughly 16 million households, possess more than $1 million in wealth. Though this growth signals how many Americans have been able to reach millionaire status through a variety of factors, and we're talking from education to investments, the Federal Reserve expects these numbers to climb, and here's the reason why. Through the IRS and Census Bureau and consumer behavior data, the Fed has taken notice of the economy's fastest growing group, which they have labeled micro-millionaires. In other words, these are upper middle class households that currently implement the habits, the traits of the top 5% millionaire class. And accordingly, as the Fed has discovered, it's only a matter of time before this household group crosses the seven-figure threshold. Now listen to the words of a Fed Reserve policy analyst who said, and I quote, "If a person not only attains a college degree and stable employment, but purchases a home, reduces debt, manages a modest investment portfolio, and agrees to lifelong learning and personal development, that individual or that household is well on its way to millionaireship." Now, why would I select this subject as today's message? And where and who are these individuals and families? You see, this future group of millionaires, or micro-millionaires, is considered upper middle class and earns anywhere between $100,000 and $250,000 annual household income. These families are in the 80 to 90th percentile of income distribution, and they saw the highest wealth gains between 2019 and 2022. Remarkably, we're talking nearly 12% of Black U.S. households. So what's driving this wealth increase? Well, you can find the answer to that question on page 92 in my 5th book, The Wealth Choice. As a result of countless interviews and surveys, I discovered that wealth is the byproduct of a specific mental attitude, a mindset, if you will. Wealth creation not only centers on what you know, but what you do with what you know. And what you do is easier than you think. You see, economic security is not attained by the possession of money alone. It is attracted by a shift in mindset. In order to generate wealth, you will be required to alter your thinking from the man or woman who constantly worries about his or her finances to the individual who is fortunate enough to concern himself with everything but money. Now listen, don't get me wrong. I know the overwhelming number of Americans, specifically Black Americans, are living paycheck to paycheck. But financial independence can be obtained. And becoming a millionaire is not that difficult. It is not the most arduous task. The most important aspect of a millionaire is navigating the transformation of becoming that person that you must develop into in order to accumulate $1 million in the first place. And it all begins with the response to these 9 drivers of wealth. that I identified in my 5th book and that the Federal Reserve agrees. Everything that I've learned over the course of this research suggests that financial success follows a predictable course. It's not the best and brightest who attract wealth. There's no secret that the have and have not can be divided into the following 3 groups: the poor, the middle class, and the wealthy. And not only does each group think differently regarding money, but they hold different views on the 9 variables that the Federal Reserve suggests are necessary in order to live a well-lived, financially stable life. So here lies the philosophy that you must adopt and apply if you hold any hope of joining the ranks of the growing body of wealth creators. You gotta be an active participant in your own survival. Here's a simple mathematical formula that guides all wealth creation. In short, I call it the calculus of compensation. All right, let's take a deep dive. Number 1, life. And you got a choice between survival and achievement. You see, the wealthy believe that they create their life. The poor, well, they believe that life happens to them. You must be intentional regarding creating wealth. Number 2, the family unit. Shifting from matriarchal to patriarchal legacy. So here's my question to you. What will your legacy be? What will you leave to future generations? When it's all said and done, what will others say about you? The only way that Black America will make a dent in the wealth gap is through maintenance of the family unit. And 70% of Black children being raised in single-parent households is not going to cut it. So allow me to be as delicate as possible and speak to the men, specifically Black men who may be listening and tuning in. Yes, Black lives matter, but Black wives matters too. Next, education. You got a choice. You got to shift from K through 12 to lifelong learning. You see, this global classroom is nothing but a classroom. And it's unlike any class that you've ever entered. You're not only the student, but you're the teacher. There's anywhere between 170,000 to 1 million words or phrases in the English language. The average adult in our society uses the same 1,200 words over and over again. You've got to read, you've got to study, and you've got to grow. And in that process, you're going to narrow your zone of ignorance. Next, money. The poor, well, they act rich and they spend it. The wealthy, they act poor and they conserve it. It's not how much money you earn, it's how much money you keep. And don't spend your money on anything that won't further your ambition. Next, work. Is your work 9 to 5? Is it a necessary evil? That's what many of the poor say. Well, those wealth creators, they shift from 9 to 5 to 5 to 9. And their work is their life work. I don't care if they're working in corporate America. I don't care if they're working for social service agencies or they're entrepreneurs. The person who works the hardest is always paid the least. The individual who knows how will have a job, but the employee or that individual who knows why he or she is working will be the boss. In other words, seek to work in your correct vocation. Allow your work to fill the hole in your soul. Next, the time. The poor, well, they're past-oriented, where the wealthy, they're future-oriented. Time is not running out, but your life is. The longer that you can project yourself in future circumstances and future dreams, the greater the chance for success. Now let's shift to relationships. The poor, it's all about social. It's all about party. It's about going to the game, going to the club. Where the wealthy, it's about networking. It's about relationships, and make no mistake about it. Relationships is the currency of the 21st century. And then destiny and fate. Where the poor, it's all about chance, taking a chance on life, whatever. You know, the greatest part of their day is while they're sleeping. Where the wealth creator, it's not about chance. It's making the proper choices. They're conscious and they're fully awake. They are not only visualizing their dream, but they are living in their dream. You see, it's not who you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you're not. And then last but not least, number 9, faith and spirituality. The poor, and even the middle class, to praise. Where the wealth creator, it's all about practice. They will read Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And after they read it, they say, well, if we can do all things, what are we doing? Why are we twiddling our thumbs? Let's look at the possibilities and get on with their life. So begin now to think and act differently. Don't settle for less than what you can be financially. Resolve now to change those areas in your life that are inconsistent with the calculus of compensation, as well as the fastest growing wealth producing demographic in the country. And remember, mindset is only a matter of how you look and how far you look. Well, until next time, this is Dr. Dennis Kimbro in the Global Classroom. And remember, your wealth choice is arguably your best choice. God bless.